Come on now. I think the camera's melting. What's going on, folks? Not sure if I'm live. I'm actually in a parking spot, so let's do live. And oh, don't want to pull out in front of that poor Corvette. I'll tear him up. Come on, Corvette. Let's go. Yeah, man, you are the slowest ass Corvette I've ever seen. Anyway, good afternoon, folks. I hope everyone's doing well. Quick video today about an article I just read. Very interesting. Not surprising. Hey, Vision, but very interesting. Regarding crime tourism. And I know the minute I said that, I'm pretty sure Trent's sitting there going, oh, I got to hear this one if he hasn't read it yet. So we have reports in California and the border, so California, Arizona, and now Texas. They're calling it tourism crimes. And what they're doing is they have a subdivision. Hey, Dan H. So these individuals will come into the country actually getting a visa, but because everything's so convoluted, it's backlogged, whatever, they're using fake IDs to get the fake visas, or to get multiple visas, fake passports. And what they do, they get into an area, say Phoenix, Arizona, LA, Houston, wherever they're getting into. And what they do there is they will then they'll get a group of people. They'll actually install cameras on street signs, like ring style cameras, like Wi-Fi cameras, aimed at certain and affluent neighborhoods, right? They'll even rent cars apparently that fit the area. So for instance, in Houston, the Galleria is known. Hey, Canadian, and anyone else I missed in there. That's kind of an exclusive area, kind of upscale, where you would kind of like the Park Avenue side of Manhattan is the Galleria. In Houston, they call it the same thing in Dallas, the Galleria. LA, it's kind of like that upside, that northern side of LA where it's really bougie. They'll rent caddies, Porsche, Beamers, stuff that fit. Hey, Canadian. Hey, Dan Phillips. And what they'll do, they'll surveil an area. They'll wear suit and tie. They'll dress like anybody from the area. And they'll put up small cameras around the area to surveil the gonorrhea, to surveil a block of affluent homes or nicer homes. And they'll take about a week's time. Hey, what's up, Joe? Billy, hello. Yeah, Billy, that's a whole nother story. Yeah, the way things are going, for sure. And what they'll do, they'll surveil the neighborhood and try and figure out who's home when. And then all these so-called people who are here on tourist visas will then target the subdivision, and in 1 or 2 nights' time will basically hit specific homes, take jewelry, purses. They go for stuff that they can grab and go. So they don't want to fight. If you have if you have a safe, they don't want to fight a big gun safe, right? They want to go break into the master closet, steal the wife's Louis Vuitton purses, the bougie shoes, the jewelry, get the hell out of Dodge. They'll hit a set of houses in one subdivision, drop the loot with a teammate, who then at like a drop house, and they start packing it and mailing it to themselves in another country. And then they'll hit another subdivision, and then all of them leave the country with a different ID than what they came in with. Joe, that's exactly what it is. So it's almost like a smash and grab, but of a whole subdivision at once. And they'll actually surveil it. And what I found interesting is that they actually go through the trouble of grabbing a visa or getting a tourism permit, or they'll come in legitimately but with fake IDs. So not legitimately, but they go through the process, and they're finding that when they go through the formal process, they're under less scrutiny than, say, someone who's sneaking in through the fence. Hey, American Loretta, it's good to see you, and thank you. And they'll hit entire areas. Now, I've seen it in Houston, Joe, to your point. Sorry about that, folks. I've seen it in Houston, Joe, but it was cars. They would target, they'd hit an area and target F-250s or F-150s or whatever the car of the month was. A bunch of Honda Accords. Surprisingly, Honda Accords were getting hit left and right in Houston because there's such a popular vehicle. The parts were valuable, right? Because you think you got 10,000 Honda Accords in Houston, somebody's going to need a new door, a new bumper, whatever the hell. They ding something. Hey, Water Tiger. So I found this interesting. Now, how do we protect ourselves? That kind of goes back to the situational awareness thing, right? You have the cameras in your house, even if you don't have cameras at your residence or your apartment. What you can still do, pay attention to what's going on in your neighborhood, right? And that was a off-road rescue fire truck, which means something has happened out in the boonies. Think of a fire truck on 4x4 chassis, about half the length and big poofy. It's pretty cool to look at. So yeah, that's their MO, and they're very quick. Yeah, the older GMCs. Well, I had to hot wire my own GMC a couple of times, my old Chevy, because I got locked out. I almost got busted by a cop for breaking into my own car. He's like, "Where's your ID?" I said, "It's in the car." I ran upstairs to get something. I ran out and it closed the door. So, but in any, yeah, I want one, Pete. Dude, that was badass. I wish I'd have gotten a good picture of that when it went by. It's interesting that they're going through the formal process, so they're blending into tourists now, which actually, if you think about it, it's kind of genius. What do we do as preppers is the most important thing is to understand what's in your neighborhood, right? Pay attention, spend some time watching the neighborhood, walk your neighborhood. I kind of know what vehicles go in and out of my subdivision because I'm on one of the first blocks of the subdivision, so a lot of people... Joe, I'm glad you're feeling better, man. A lot of people go in and out on that street, and I kind of got a feel because of my work, I office out of the home randomly facing the front window. So I'll be in Texas in February. Canadian, I used to live there. I'm out in West Texas now, but I do go to Houston pretty much every few months. If your car unattended for a bit, pull the battery. So I also had my old truck, I had a cutoff switch. I had a couple of cutoff switches in different spots in my dashboard. I had them put in custom. It ran me a couple of $100, but I could kill the battery. I could kill, the alarm wouldn't turn off if I had certain switches, or if I was going to fly away for a while. I'd flip that one on and be like, yeah, you set off the alarm, it's going to go forever, and then the battery will die, and you're good luck towing that thing. But understanding what should or should not be in your area is going to help you a lot. Also knowing your neighbors, right? Because my neighbors know what my car looks like. I know what my retiree neighbor across the street looks like, right? So if I pull in one day from work and there's some jackass in a weird car that does not belong to my neighbor or his family, because I know his son, I know his daughter-in-law, I know the grandkids, because I see them when they visit. I come out, I bring the corgis so the little kids can play with the dogs, and we all say hi. I kind of know who should or shouldn't be there. So if I see someone who's sus, I'll be like, you don't freaking belong here, and I'm gonna go check you out, I'm gonna watch you, I'm gonna come out and challenge you. I know 80% of the cars. Hey, Mimi, thank you. Yes, some random dude. I will eat my neighbor, Alex Jones. Okay, well, I don't know. Alex Jones says bizarre shit at times, but by the way, I love watching him because you never know what's going to come out of the man, and it's just funny as shit. But I digress. Understanding your neighborhood and basic things. Lock your freaking cars. Do not leave guns, wallets, or other important things overnight. You're going to run in the house, grab a bottle of water, run back to your car and go, fine. Don't leave valuables in there. Most of the guns we've seen stolen in our area on the various, the Ring and what do you call that app? Nextdoor app. Almost every single one. Oh, well, my wife left the car unlocked. I left the car unlocked, and I left my pistol under the seat. A one-eyed retarded monkey would know, oh, if I break into a car, look under the freaking seat because there's probably something there. Like, you didn't even attempt to hide the pistol. You know, put it somewhere stupid, that people would be like, who the hell would put a firearm there? Uh, I just don't get it. But anyway, don't leave it overnight. Don't leave the computer bags. If you're going to go to a restaurant downtown in a city, don't leave your computer bag in the back seat or in the passenger seat or a purse. Don't leave your purse on a shopping cart open and then you walk to the next aisle to get a loaf of bread and leave your purse by itself. I mean, I know this sounds stupid to all of us. I see this every day and it annoys the shit out of me. I wanted to start putting, like, I don't know what the hell I'd put. I guess, you know, it'd be good. My brother came up with this. Was if women leave their purses open or guys leave their backpack open, just throw a package with a condom in it. And then when they go home, they open their purse or their backpack and there's a rubber in there and they'll get yelled at. And it'd be hard to explain because they'll have no idea how it got there. I just never got around to executing on his evil plan, but it was worthy of that. Hey, Hutch, it's good to see you, man, as always. But yeah, so if you really want to mess with someone, you probably cause someone to get a divorce. But or here's your sign cards. Yeah. So having a situational understanding of your neighborhood, who normally goes in and out, who your neighbors are, this will help mitigate having these tourism criminals coming into your subdivision and taking your stuff. And again, for those of you who rolled in here a little late, there was a report that there are criminals. They'll use fake IDs to get a visitor's visa from another country. They'll come in a couple of different airports or a couple of different flights at different times till they get about anywhere from 5 to 10 people on a visitor's visa. They'll go to the touristy spots, find an affluent neighborhood or a neighborhood of interest, scope it out using Wi-Fi or cell phone cameras, you know, monitor the area, hit the neighborhood, steal a bunch of stuff, and be gone on an airplane within 48 hours. They'll leave all the goodies at a safe house or a safe apartment where a teammate will either sell it on the street and pawn it, or they'll ship it to themselves in, like, by FedEx or something, because, you know, they'll wrap it up, put it in a box and ship it inside a stuffed animal or something, right? Who the hell's going to check? You know, we're always checking for stuff coming into the country, not stuff leaving. So I just thought it was interesting that they're doing this and they're actually following the visitor's visa. They're following the goodie room. Yeah, Yardbirds, the goodie room. They're following the process, but when they leave the country, they use a different ID. So eventually the ID shows up as you've overstayed your visa, but nobody can find them. You know why? They're gone. They've left the country. So interesting that they're doing this. But again, criminals have wheels. They can go to, hey, Kentucky Survival. Bad guys have cars. They can get on a subway, they can get on a bus, whatever means of transport they have. They can go from A to B. So even if you live in a gated subdivision, you live in some bougie community, guess what? Bad guys can get under the fence, right? People can gain access to even remote locations. So even if you live in the country, it doesn't mean a bad player is not going to go there and go, oh, hey, you know what? I'm going to go and screw with this subdivision somehow. Now, granted, out in the country, you know, out here in these high plains grasslands out here, there's a lot of places to hide people, especially when they're no longer a viable human because they did something bad and ceased being viable when the owner showed up. You know, they run that risk. But yeah, absolutely, Hutch. And it's funny because in my old subdivision, there was a lot of old folks who were like trust fund babies, not to be ugly, but that's what they were. And they loved talking down to the younger generation who actually busted their ass to get a nice house. And one day, my was a really nice guy, and like a redheaded guy with a hoodie, and he had come from a clay shoot. So I walked across the street with a double-barreled over under, and on my shoulder. I didn't load it. Figured I would club him with it if I needed to, and I'm like, hey, can I help you while you're in my neighborhood? It turned out he was legitimate. The sheriff's stamp on it. I'm like, we need to see that. You need to put your magnetic sticker saying contractor for 18th in your damn truck. And they're like, no, this motherfucker came out with it. We probably would have gotten shot by my girl. She'd be like, hush and vision. You go out country, but you know who goes with that. Right? Anywhere if someone's lost, you're literally lost. And you can pick out ones that are a cycle or a golf cart at different times of day at night. You know, if you may go, sounds like in the morning before the kids all go to school. Get used to which vehicles come back. I kicked off for quite a bit. So in any case, folks, remember, know your neighborhood, know your community, get familiar with your neighbors, and watch for those patterns. If the patterns change in your neighborhood, that's something that may not be right. And I had to park. I guess I went into the area of no internet or something. Anyway, Russian hackers, who knows. Anyway, guys, be safe. Pay attention to what's going on. The criminals are creative, and they are mobile. They will go from A to B to do what they need to do. So don't let them do that. At least not to you and yours. I'll see you guys later. God bless and take care.